GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
This is the GBN Luncheon edition of news for today, Thursday. That should be July 16th, 2026. Coming up in the news, Cuba Solidarity Fund reaches landmark 200,000. In the region, the church could be a possible ally in the push for reparation. On the international front, more than 800 Canadian wildfire burning as air quality alert extends to the U.S. And in sport, the National Sports Council concludes its 10-day capacity building. We have details to these and other stories when we come back. The first segment of the news comes to you compliments Bryden and Miners.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.
Welcome back with the details. I am Christlina John. The Grenadians has raised more than $200,000 as EC dollars to support humanitarian efforts in Cuba. Organizers of the Citizens for Cuba campaign announced today that the Cuba Solidarity Fund has crossed the milestone after 3 months of fundraising activities across Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. They say all event expenses have already been covered. The campaign received strong support from churches, community groups, trade unions, and individuals. The largest single contribution came from the Roman Catholic and Seventh-day Adventist churches, while fundraising events including dinners, breakfasts, raffles, and community activities also boosted the fund. The initiative was launched in response to Cuba's ongoing humanitarian crisis marked by shortage of food, fuel, and medical supplies. More donations are expected over the next 2 weeks, with the fund projected to reach $250,000. Citizens for Cuba has thanked everyone who contributed, describing the campaign as a powerful demonstration of Grenadian solidarity and gratitude for Cuba's long-standing support to Grenada. The Ministry of Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture has reaffirmed its commitment to developing Grenada's creative sector with the relaunch of the Sonic 7 studio. The upgraded recording facility located at the 5th floor of the ministerial complex at the Sir Eric Matthew Gary's Botanical Gardens was officially reopened on Wednesday by the Division of Culture. Minister for Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture, Adrian Thomas, described the relaunch as more than the reopening of a studio, saying it represents new opportunities for young creatives and reflects government's vision of positioning Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique as the creative capital of the Eastern Caribbean. Chief Cultural Officer Kelvin Jacob also said the studio has played an important role in nurturing local talent over the years and will continue to serve as a space where artists can develop their craft. The studio reconstruction, which began in December last year, was led by Patrick Bernard. He praised the government's continued investment in providing opportunities for young creatives and preserving Grenada's cultural heritage. Following the official ceremony, the ribbon was cut and invited guests toured the refurbished facility. The Sonic 7 studio was originally established in 2008 under the leadership of former Chief Cultural Officer Thomas Matthew and Senior Cultural Officer Adrian Mark. Among the artists who have used the facility in Grenadian singer Sabrina Francis, who recorded a demo of her first soca track, Honor You, at the studio. Continuing on the local front, the Parliamentary Elections Office has announced that the official consolidated list of electors as of June 30th, 2026 is now available for public inspection. The list became available on Wednesday, July 15th, and will remain open for a 7-day claims and objectives period ending on July 22nd. Copies of the voters' list have been placed at the country's 15 parliamentary constituency offices, as well as post offices, police stations, medical stations, and other designated public locations. The Parliamentary Elections Office is encouraging registered voters to review the list and report any errors in names, addresses, or polling divisions to their constituency registration officer by July 22nd. Members of the public are also asked to identify any names that should be removed from the register. And finally, on the local front, well, that's the final news item on the local front. Do stay with us. Your regional highlights are up next. Now for a look at what's making news across our region. Well, the church could be a possible ally in the push for reparation. We have details to these and other stories in today's regional news roundup from the OCM News Network. This segment of the news comes to you compliments Fortune Foods Limited.
meeting it had with 3 senior clerics from the Church of England as it pushes for reparations. Member of the Commission's delegation to the United Kingdom and Barbados's ambassador to CARICOM, David Comisiong, say the Church could be a possible ally in the push for reparations. The trip by the CRC to the United Kingdom is aimed at advancing its advocacy regarding reparations. Ambassador Comisiong says the CRC welcomes the Church of England's apology for its role in chattel slavery.
Church of England, in doing what it did, sent a very positive signal to the rest of the British society, to the British government in particular, and that was a major development in our reparations campaign. We are trying to say that a new world must emerge and that we must be partners in building this new world, built on justice, built on acknowledging historical harms, built on a goodwill effort to repair historical harms.
Meanwhile, CRC Chairman Professor Sir Hilary Beckles said yesterday the CRC has a critical role to play in assisting the Church to heal its internal wounds so that it can play an active part in healing humanity.
Many of those bishops have come to us. The prior Archbishop Webley came to the Caribbean and engaged Caribbean communities. And we wish to see that engagement bear fruit for all of humanity. So we are having this conversation. They have allocated financial resources to carry out projects across the British Empire. And that's a very good step. But we would like them to mature that program despite the headwind that the progressive church is facing from elements of the reactionary theology. Despite that, we would wish to continue our dialogue because we want to see them as critical allies in this struggle for humanity's future.
He was speaking at a news conference hosted by the Commission in the United Kingdom. And the St. Vincent and the Grenadines government has announced the removal of registration-related fees for first-form students entering public and government-assisted private secondary schools on the island. Education and Vocational Training Minister Philip Jackson yesterday said the move is part of the government's broader push to ease the cost of education for Vincentian families, and that the decision also followed much research and deliberation within the Ministry of Education. Minister Jackson said the new policy is intended to align with both the Education Act and the stated policy of the government on access to education. He explained this new policy reflects the ambitions of the Education Act, the more general policy enunciated by Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday on the course of access to education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the NDP's commitment to ease the cost of living for Vincentian families. Under the new policy, fees designated as registration, processing, and admission, among others, are to be removed from the registration process.
Have you heard about the new soft weave bathroom tissue with total hygiene?
Mixology is back. We're officially on the road to spice up the Carinage 3.0. And it all starts here. Live from GBN Studios every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Streaming across GBN platforms, bringing pure energy, culture, and spice man's vibes straight to your screen. Hosted by Charlton. Powered by Graphic Sound System. Featuring fresh faces and seasoned stars. Mixology is what the culture takes center stage. WhatsApp 407-8458 now to secure your spot on Mixology. And don't miss the repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. This is Mixology, the heartbeat of Spice Mass. Don't miss it.
And now now for a look further afield. Well, protests have been taking place in several Ukrainian cities against President Volodymyr Zelensky's surprise dismissal of popular Defense Minister Fedorov. A crowd of people, mostly young, gathered in Kyiv on Thursday morning, holding up signs reading "Hands off Fedorov" and "Stop sabotaging victory" and chanting "Shame." Zelensky's decision has caused significant upset among commentators and the military, as well as parts of civil society.
Hundreds of people have been demonstrating against the decision to remove Mikhailo Fedorov, a young but popular minister credited with cracking down on corruption at the Defense Ministry and using data to analyse performance on the front line. He's also overseen an improvement in Ukraine's armed forces' positions against Russia and an escalated campaign of strikes and sabotage tactics on the occupied Crimean Peninsula. The 35-year-old was only appointed in January, and President Zelensky's decision is causing significant upset among the military and parts of civil society. Tensions have been growing between the defense minister and the military's commander-in-chief, which some commentators have framed as a generational clash between a young, innovative manager with a start-up background and a more traditional military general. The changes at the Defence Ministry are part of a wider reshuffle, with Parliament set to approve the appointment of the state oil and gas boss Serhiy Kuretsky as the new Prime Minister, replacing Yulia Sviridenko.
Still on the international front, more than 800 wildfires are burning across Canada, with air quality alerts now extending south into multiple U.S. states. The air quality in large parts of the northern states of Michigan, Minneapolis, and Minnesota is deemed hazardous by the U.S. Air Quality Index program, with people recommended to stay indoors. Alerts span the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and into the U.S.'s northeast, the U.S.'s National Weather Service, NOAA, said in an update on Thursday. There are currently 857 fires actively burning in Canada, including 23 new fires on Thursday, according to the Canadian Integrity Forest Fire Centre. Stay tuned for your sporting highlights, which comes up next. And now for your sporting highlights. Well, the National Sports Council, in collaboration with the St. Mark and St. John Parish Sports Councils, will officially conclude its 10-day capacity building pilot program for community sports clubs on Friday, July 17th at the St. Mark Secondary School in Waltham. The program, which began on July 6th, was designed to strengthen community sports clubs by equipping their leaders with practical skills in governance, leadership, financial management, fundraising, strategic planning, athlete welfare, and long-term sustainability. The training was facilitated by Grenadian practitioner Dr. George Roderick Griffith and Ryan Welsh, who together brought more than 75 years of experience in physical education and club development. Participating organizations are expected to leave with governance documents, operational templates, and action plan to support the growth of their clubs. Chairman of the National Sports Council, Patrick Simmons, says the initiative represents an investment in the people and system that drive community sport, noting that strong clubs begin with strong leaders. And that's your sporting highlights. Do stay with us for a recap of the headlines when we return. Recapping the headlines that made the news today, Cuba Solidarity Fund reaches landmark $200,000. In the region, the church could be a possible ally in the push for reparation. On the international front, more than 800 Canadian wildfires burning as air quality alert extends to the U.S. And in sport, the National Sports Council concludes its 10-day capacity building. This has brought us to the end of the luncheon edition of News for today, Thursday, July 16th, 2026. On behalf of the entire news team, I've been your presenter, Christlina John, thanking you for having joined us.